this chapter is important, but what students do mistake is take this chapter really lightly. So do not take this chapter lightly at all. But how we see that world, so how exactly light enters into our eye, if one of the part is not functioning right, it will be a very tricky job for us to see the world as it is. Hello everyone, your Aditi ma'am is back. How are you all doing? We are back with another chapter, Human Eye and the Colorful World, in just 30 minutes. Last month, we revised chapter Light in 30 minutes, almost 30 minutes. Now we are going to do Human Eye. Now, we studied Human Eye one shot and it was a long, but we explained it thoroughly, the whole chapter, in one single video. So, if you want the complete explanation in like a detailed manner, so you can go watch the one shot. If you want a quick revision, but this quick revision will not leave anything that I taught in one shot. It was just a detailed explanation, okay? But here we are going to quickly revise whatever we taught in the one shot. Now, this chapter is important, but what students do mistake is take this chapter really lightly. But I'll tell you one thing, the numericals from this chapter can be very, very tricky. The concepts you have to engrave, you have to kind of understand, but you still have to learn a lots of things. So do not take this chapter lightly at all. Now, human eye is a really, really beautiful part of our body, right? It lets us see the world around us, but how we see that world, how this small eye can see this much view, then like almost 180, more than 180 degrees we can see, including the peripheral vision and all, we can see with our human eye. So how exactly light enters into our eye, what are all the functions, what are all these parts that are shown in the human eye, that we will study in this video lecture in 30 minutes quickly. Okay, I have taken 1.5 minutes of you already. Okay, let's quickly jump into that. So the first, now I have a question. I ask this every time. A lot of you may watch animes, right? There's a lot of craze around the world. Now you see different colors of eyes. Even not animes, you have seen people with different eye colors. I have brown, maybe you have blue, you have black, maybe orange. But what part of the human eye, what a part of my eye is responsible for the color? Do comment that in the comment section right now. I will write it here. Comment down which part of the human eye is responsible for the color of your eye, and I'll check that later. Okay, now let's move on to the very next topic, and that is my human eye, right? Now my eye, it has lots of parts, and all those parts has different functions, and even if one of the part is not functioning right, it will be a very tricky job for us to see the world as it is. Okay, so let's see, as the light is coming, it is entering into my eye. So the very first layer, or let's just say, if you open your eye and try to touch it, don't do it, it's unhygienic. But if you do, the thing that you touch, it's slimy, it's liquidy, right? But the first layer that you touch, that, my friend, is your cornea. That is your cornea. It is responsible for maximum refraction of light. We study bending of light, right? So it bends towards the screen, which we'll study later. But let's understand right now, this is my cornea. As the light comes, it slightly bends. It slightly bends to form the image. Okay, to form the image of the object we are seeing. So the first layer, it's like a bulge, right? It's the bulge, outside bulge, which is responsible for maximum refraction of light entering into the eye. That is called cornea. Next is this empty space, this whole space. What is this? This is aqueous humor. Now this, first of all, it protects. Now behind it is our eye lens. So it protects our eye lens. It stops the dust particles, the gas, everything, the dust around in the atmosphere. It stops that to reach into our eye lens. Also, it is responsible to maintain the pressure of the eye lens. And one very interesting thing about eyes are, they don't get oxygen from the nerves. Our eyes, they don't get oxygen from the nerves. They get oxygen directly from the air. So this cornea and this lens, they get oxygen directly from the air. Okay, so that is one important point. And this, my friend, is aqueous humor. Okay, which is responsible for the pressure of eye lens. Then we turn and we have two very important things, that is iris and pupil. Now, iris, let's study about pupil first. Now, imagine you entered into a cinema hall and you watched and you went there and you watched, what's the last movie you watched? Comment down. And I think maximum of you might say Dhurandhar. So, if you go, as you enter into the movie room, movie theater, you see there's the whole room is black and you're not able to see the seat number exactly, right? That's why they have the seat number blinking as well. Why that happens? Because I'm coming from outside and outside there is lots of light. And if lots of light enter into my eye, that's not very good, right? So I want the almost a good amount of light to enter, but not too much. So imagine you're going into sun. When if like at one point you go into the sun, your eyes might hurt because lots of light enters into your eye. But if you go into a movie theater, you're not able to see anything. But after 10-15 seconds even, you are able to see all the seats. Now, why is this possible? Because your pupil is like a shutter. You have camera, your pupil is like a shutter. So that shutter, when there is very less light, that shutter gets big. It gets big so that it can capture all the light, very less, but all the light that is there, it gets enlarged. So as you enter, you are coming from the sun, your pupil is small because there is so much light. It is trying not to enter all the light, it is trying to enter small light. But as you enter in the movie theater, your pupil is still small. And there is small light, so it takes a little bit time to get enlarged and then it collects all the light. So that time that you're not able to see something, that is the time when your pupil is working, when your pupil is getting enlarged. So that is the function of pupil, to control the amount of light that is entering into your eye. Now, this is the shutter, okay, but what controls it? You click a button on the camera and it takes the picture, it clicks the shutter, right? That is the same way iris works. Iris is like that camera on the button. So iris controls when the pupil will get shortened, when the pupil will get large. Iris like pushes the pupil, okay, now get small, okay, now get large, okay. So that is the function of iris, understood? Also, I'll just give you the answer. Iris is exactly the part which is responsible for the color of your eye. I asked you this, right? In here, iris is responsible for the colored part of your eye. Done? Next, we have crystalline lens. Of course, we have a lens in our eye, right? That lens is called crystalline lens. That is a convex lens. It is a convex lens. It is a convex lens. Okay? Now, this convex lens, obviously, convex lens is a converging lens. So, it converges the light rays, all the light rays are coming and it converges them onto the one point. Done. Now, after this crystalline lens, it is not swimming in the eye, right? It is there at a position. With what is holding that crystalline lens? That is my ciliary muscles. This is my lens, and these are the ciliary muscles. What are these? These muscles, both are ciliary muscles. Now, what is the function of the ciliary muscles? Now, there is a very important phenomena for eye lens, that it can change its shape. I'll teach you in 1 or 2 slides, but let's just understand now it can change its shape. But how can it change its shape? Just like iris control the pupil, ciliary muscles control eye lens. If it wants to get shortened, ciliary muscles will contract and they will try to shorten the lens. But if it wants to get enlarged, so ciliary muscles will relax. Okay, now get enlarged, so lens will get enlarged. Okay, so ciliary muscles actually control the shape and size of the lens. Done. Now, after that, there is so many space, empty space, all this space inside the eye. What is this? This is vitreous humor. So, it says that almost 80 to 90% of your eye is just water. Almost always. My body is also that. 70% of body is water, but 70 to 80% of our eye is also filled with liquid kind of such structure. First, aqueous humor between cornea and eye lens. This is between eye lens and retina. Now, why is this? This just maintains the shape of my eye. My eye is of round color. Of course, you don't see it here, but our eye is actually round. So your eye is round color. Your eye is round in shape. So to maintain that shape, so that your eyes don't get squished, your eyes don't get elongated, to maintain that shape, that is the function of vitreous humor. Done. Next we have, now also if the light rays are getting converged, they are meeting at some screen. right? Where we see the image. So that screen is called retina. That screen is called retina. And on retina, we have millions of cells. Those are called rods and cones. Rods and cones. So this is called cones and rods and cone cells. Okay, what are the function of these? These are light sensitive cells. As soon as light strikes these cells, they wakes up. They're like, oh, there is light, there is light. So then they transfer the signal to the optic nerve. And what optic nerve does? Optic nerve takes that image, convert it into electrical signals and gives it to brain, and then brain tells, oh, we have Aditi ma'am on the screen. Okay, done. Those are all the functions and parts of the human eye. Okay, next we have power of accommodation. Now your eye lens is very smart. Your eye lens is very powerful. Okay, very powerful. Now what happens is, I told you those muscles, right? So we have to see when those muscles relax. So does our eye lens get contract or relax or whatever, all this. Okay, so that is we are going to study. Power of accommodation is actually the power of eye lens to change its focal length. Then power of accommodation is the power of eye lens to change its focal length. Now what happens? These are your ciliary muscles. Here are your So here are your ciliary muscles. These are your ciliary muscles. Fine. These are your ciliary muscles, and then this is a big eye. Now, if these ciliary muscles relax, imagine this is my ciliary. These are ciliary muscles. If they relax, eye lens can do whatever it wants and it can relax. If the muscles are relaxed, eye lens is relaxed. Okay. So muscles relax, eye lens gets large. It gets large. I'll be large now. Okay. So muscles relax, eye lens, focal length increases. If my eye lens gets enlarged, focal length will increase. See, this is my eye lens and this is my eye lens. So it is large, right? So its focal length will be far away than this because focal length is just here. So if the muscles relax, eye lens gets large. That means focal length increases. If it increases, then it will get thin, right? It is same. The parts of the, both the parts of eye lens, they are not changing size. They are same. They are just like this and like this, right? So their size is not changing. But when the muscles relax, they get large and their focal length increases. But as the muscles contract, they're like, I'm pushing you downwards, then the eye lens gets contracted. He's like, no, don't put pressure on me. He's scared and he goes and sits in a corner and be like this. Now, focal length decreases. So when muscles relax, focal length increases, eye lens becomes thin. Right? And as eye lens become thin, the focal length increases, so we can see farther distances very clearly. We can see distant objects very clearly. Then, but muscles contract, eye lens becomes small, that means it becomes thick. So eye lens becomes thick when muscles are contract, that means focal length decreases, and we can see nearby objects very clearly. Okay. Then we have the next topic is your defects. We have two kinds of defects, myopia and hypermetropia. Defects is when we are not able to see the objects clearly. See, there are two things you need to remember, the near point and far point of the eye. Near point is 25 centimeter, far point is infinity. If I'm not able to see distant objects clearly, then that is myopia, which I have. So remember, Aditi ma'am cannot see far away objects clearly, so she has myopia. But if someone, mostly in the older age, but if someone cannot see nearby objects clearly, like a book is placed here, they cannot read and they have to do it like this, right? So that is hypermetropia. Then let's study can see nearby objects clearly but are not able to see distant objects distinctly. That is myopia. In hypermetropia, they can see far objects clearly but they are not able to read the book, but they cannot see nearby objects distinctly. Understood? Myopia, hypermetropia. Now let's dive a little bit into scientific part of it, right? That's the core basic of this. Now, in myopia, image is found in front of the retina. See, technically, Technically, the image should be formed like this, right? On the retina, but it does not form on the retina. It is forming in front of the retina. So, if the image is formed in front of the retina, that is called myopia. If the image is formed in front of the retina, that is called myopia. On the other hand, if the image is formed far away from the retina, behind the retina, see, this is the retina, image should be formed here for a normal person, but someone has hypermetropia, so the image is formed behind the retina. So image is formed behind the retina. I remember it's like myopia is a small word, right? So image is formed in front. It's like smaller distance. Hypermetropia is a large word, so image is formed at a larger distance, that is behind the retina. Understood? That's how I learn it. You can also learn like that. Next, a little bit more scientific. Why this happens? Why the image is forming in front? So either my eyeball is elongated, my eyeball got large. Image was forming here like this, but eyeball got large. So in the case of elongation of eyeball, this is my eyeball, right? The image was formed here, but the eyeball got bigger. Eyeball got bigger, so image is still here, lens is still able to focus only here, but the retina went here, retina went behind, eye won't form your image. So elongation of eyeball is one case when the image is forming in front of retina, or excessive curvature of eye lens. That means curvature, the curvature of eye lens increases. That means it is more curved now, more curved. That means the focal length decreases, and if now it was like this, but focal length decreases, so now here the image will be formed, not here. Understood? Similarly, now here curvature will be less, curvature will decrease, curvature will decrease. So curvature is the curveness. So if curveness decreases, focal length becomes higher, longer, and I won't be able to focus on the retina, right? So instead of here, the image is actually here. So image is formed behind the retina. First, focal length of the eye lens is too long. So focal length of the eye lens is too long. The retina is here, but it is focusing the object here. Then next is eyeball has become too small because of some accident, because of some reasons. The shape of eyeball, it got smaller. It's smaller. The image is being formed here, but it got smaller. Image is still here, but eyeball got short. The retina got in front of it, right? So those are the main reasons. Now, how to correct it? How to correct it? For myopia, we use concave lens as corrective lens. For hypermetropia, we use convex lens. Then, for myopia, it is concave lens. For myopia, it is concave lens. And for hypermetropia, it is convex lens. Then next topic we have presbyopia. Now presbyopia is a defect in which the person cannot even see far objects clearly and can't see nearby objects clearly. So the person cannot even read the book as well, and he cannot even see the children playing there. Okay, so they are not able to see far objects as well as nearby objects clearly. Why this happens? Mostly this happens due to old age. So in old age, all the muscles get weak, right? All the muscles of our grandparents, they get weak. So similarly, ciliary muscles is also a muscle, right? So weakening of ciliary muscles due to age is the main cause of presbyopia. Understood? Difficult to see objects comfortably, nor farther objects or nor nearby objects clearly. The gradual weakening of ciliary muscles and diminishing flexibility of eye lens. The ciliary muscles are weak, so eye lens cannot flexibly change its shape now. Okay, done. Next we have what do we use it for? We use for myopia concave lens, hypermetropia convex lens. For presbyopia we use bifocal lenses. What are bifocal lenses? This is the kind of lens. So upper, when you see directly in front of you, you'll see from the upper part, right? So the upper part is used to see distant objects clearly. That means the upper portion is used to correct myopia, and for myopia we use concave lens. The lower part is used to read the book. So lower part is used to correct hypermetropia, and for hypermetropia we use convex lens. Now, very interesting fact is, after someone dies, their eyes can still be used. Their eyes don't die as fast as the person is gone. Okay, so when you see that person is donating eyes, that actually gives lives to lots of people, not just one person, because cornea is used in someone else's eyes. Some other parts are used for some other person. So a lot of people can be cured with a single pair of eyes. So our eyes can live even after our death. Okay, by donating your eyes after one dies, they can light the life of a blind person. Then next we have now a very important, some different topics but related to light. Those are refraction of light through a prism. Now you must have seen a prism. You take a glass prism, something like that, and first of all understood how the light does, how light travels through it. Okay, so a light will come something like this. Okay, this is coming something like this, and as soon as it hits, now this is air, right, and the inside is glass. We all know that, right? The inside is glass. Then now what happens? Then the light enters. Now this is rarer medium, this is denser medium. Let's draw normal. This is the normal to the glass face, right? Now it will bend towards the normal. Right? Again draw normal at this point, at the other face. Now it is going from rarer to denser. This is wrong. It is going from denser to rarer, right? So here it was going from rarer to denser, so it bent towards the normal. Here it is going denser to rarer, it will bend away from the normal. So this will be emergent angle, this is refracted angle, and this is my incident angle. Understood, everyone? Now if you extend the incident ray, if you extend the incident ray and you extend the emergent ray, then the angle between them, this angle will be your deviation angle. How much the ray got deviated from its original path. Okay, and this angle is called angle of prism. Okay, so this is incident angle of prism, refracted angle, emergent angle, and the angle between the incident ray and emergent ray is called angle of deviation. Then next we have dispersion of light by a glass prism. So dispersion is breaking of light or splitting of light into its 7 constituent colors. Splitting of white light into its 7 constituent colors is called dispersion of light. So as soon as the white light enters, here is also going, it's not going straight like this, right? But it is bending towards the normal, just like here it bent towards the normal. So it is bending towards the normal, but while bending it splits into 7 colors. Why? Because this is a property of light. Light is made up of 7 different colors, but when you mix those 7 colors, a white color appears. But when the light passes through prism, prism has different refractive index, right? It is a different medium, so light travels with different speed in different medium. So all the speed of all the colors of the white light have different speeds, and when it goes into another medium, it splits into its 7 constituent colors, and that is called Vibgyor, written from the down. Right? Now, Newton sir said, I won't let my kids live this peacefully. Dispersion. He said, what if I place an inverted prism in front of these 7 colors? What will happen? Will they merge back into white light? That's exactly what happened. What he did, he sent a white light into the prism and it got refracted and it got split into 7 colors, right? Vibgyor. This is the R. I just showed the R1 and V1 here. Okay. So R and V, the split light is here. But when he placed an inverted prism in front of this split light, it got merged back again. And there we had the white light. So if you combine one prism with another inverted prism of the same medium, then we will send the white light, it will get split into 7 colors and they will merge back and white light will come out again. Okay, that's a crazy phenomenon, no? Okay. Next we have formation of a rainbow. This is a different topic. Formation of a rainbow is here. So what happens Okay, so white light is coming. White light is sunlight. Okay, sunlight is actually white light. You know that, right? Sunlight is not yellow. It's actually white. Because of the atmospheric refraction, it appears to us that it's yellow, but it's actually white. So white light comes, and because of rain, there are so many droplets, water droplets in the air. So that white light is entering into the water droplet. Now we just studied, it will get refracted and it will get dispersion, right? It will split into 7 colors. So white light enters, it splits into 7 colors. Can you see? These are 2 different colors. So I've shown the upper and the lower color. So it splits into 7 colors, and inside that bubble, now it doesn't come out. It gets totally internally reflected. You will study about total internal reflection in detail somewhere in your future, but right now just understand that for total internal reflection, the angle should be greater than the critical angle. The incident angle with which this light is getting incident, that should be greater than the critical angle. There is an angle, okay? So if the angle is greater than that, the light will not come out. It will get reflected, right? So white light comes, it got refracted and it got dispersed, then it got totally internally reflected, and then it comes out. So first it refracts, then it disperses, first it refracts, then it disperses into 7 colors, then it reflects back, then it gets totally internally reflected, and then again it gets refraction and it comes back, and here is me seeing this, okay? This is my eye. Done. Then there is another concept called scattering of light. So my light is traveling straight line. So as soon as the light goes and there is a dust particle and it's standing right here, so I won't let you go. So okay, don't let me go. I'll go from somewhere else. So when the light is traveling in a straight path, when a deviation of light, it gets deviated. Because when it strikes some particles like gas, oil droplets, anything, those dust particles in the air, so when it strikes those particles, its paths get deviated. So scattering is the deviation of light from its straight path when it strikes tiny particles like gas, dust or water droplets in our atmosphere. Okay? Now we have Tyndall effect. Imagine you are sitting in a room and it's very hot outside and there is a hole. There is so much sunlight outside and the light comes in from that hole and feels like God is there, like worshipping, shining light on you. And all the particles, if you see carefully, all the dust particles in that ray, in that beam of light, they gets visible. You can see small dust particles flying around, playing with each other. No, that is called Tyndall effect. When a beam of light strikes such fine particles that the path of those fine particles, the path of beam becomes visible. Here is so many light, but you cannot see a clear beam of light, right? But if you go out, if you go see the light through the hole, or you go somewhere else in the sky, sometimes there is this glow and you can clearly see light rays. That is called Tyndall effect. Okay, or if you are in a forest, you can see the rays, the sunlight is hitting the trees and the leaves, and the path of the light is visible. That is called Tyndall effect. Okay, my friends, that is it for this chapter. We have done this chapter in 27 minutes only. Now, there are some questions that you need to study. Draw well-labeled diagram of human eye. That is important. Then, why stars twinkle but planets do not? There is a massive concept of atmospheric refraction, that there are different layers in the atmosphere, and while the light is entering, all the atmospheric layers have different mediums, right? Somewhere ions are more, cations are more, and somewhere most of the dust particles are there. So, light is entering from ionic layer to the dust particles, then to the gas particles. So it is getting refracted, it is bending, and that is why stars twinkle. And planets do not, because planets are very close to us. Stars are very far away. So stars act as a point object. Planet acts as a bigger object. So all the light coming from planet averages out. So we see planets normally. But the point object, that star is a point object. So it looks like just one ray of light is coming from that star. And I can clearly see its path. Okay, then we have, why is the color of the sky blue? Because blue scatters the most. We study scattering of light because the wavelength of the color blue is equal to the size of the dust particles. The wavelength of blue color is comparable to the size of dust particles. Okay, and when in that condition, the scattering happens the most. That's why the sky looks blue. Why danger signal lights are red in color? Because it doesn't scatter. Blue color scattered. What is left in the white light? Red color is left, so it travels straight, right into your eyes. Okay, those are some of the questions. I have given complete solution and complete explanation in the one shot. If you want that, you can go watch the one shot as well. Okay, and we are done with that. Now there is some information for you. You can go join the WhatsApp channel down in the description. The link will be there. You go that and you'll get all the notifications. We will be coming live. If you have any doubt, comment down. If you have any doubt, go watch the one shot. If not, comment down. And you can also join the live sessions if you still have any doubts, and you can ask me directly. Okay, also subscribe the channel, please. Oh, there is no slide for subscription. Okay, let's do one question then. This will test your revision. A person with a myopic eye cannot see objects beyond 1.2 meter distinctly. What should be the type of the corrective lens used to restore proper vision? So, what do you see? This is a myopic eye. So you do not even have to read the question. Exactly. When you see this is a myopic eye, myopia, Aditi ma'am has myopia. So ma'am cannot see distant objects clearly. If ma'am cannot see distant objects clearly, she wears concave lens. She wears concave lenses, and those are what are used to correct myopia. So these are concave lenses. Then, next one question for you. It is observed that the power of an eye to see nearby objects as well as far off objects diminishes with age. Name the defect that is likely to arise in the eyes in such a condition. No, that's not homework. It's simply presbyopia. We all know that. Let's see if the next question can be your homework. This question will be your homework. What happens to the image formation on the retina in case of a myopic eye? So this will be your homework. Answers in the comments. Answer in the comment section. Okay, do answer in the comment section. Let's say this is slide number 15. Write slide number 15 and then write the answer. That what is the answer? It's formed in front of the retina, on the retina, or behind the retina. Okay, those are all. The conceptual is clear. We will be coming live. We'll do lots of questions. If you want, you can go check our channel and check how many questions I have actually done in the past year. There's like no count of the questions I have given to the class 10 students. You can go ask your seniors. Okay, so make sure you are subscribing the channel, like this video, and I'll meet you in the next one. If you have any doubt, go join the WhatsApp channel and you can comment down as well. Join our lives as well. Okay.